Jarek, the very infamous Black Dragon member and also the complete ripoff of Kano. I don't know why they didn't just stick Kano in Mortal Kombat 4, but for whatever reason they made this entirely new character and he plays exactly like him. He's even in the Black Dragon. But anyways, he's the redesign that I have today, so let's see what a brand new Jarek design is going to look like. Alright, so I've been asked to do a redesign for Jarek for Mortal Kombat. He's the final member of the Black Dragon for me to work on. Actually, he's not. I had somebody recently point out to me that I haven't designed Tremor, and I don't know if I'm getting to a Tremor design or not, we'll see. But as far as Jarek is concerned, I may be in the minority here, but I'm actually a fan of Jarek. Just because if NetherRealm is insistent on putting Kano in almost every Mortal Kombat game, it would be nice if just take Kano out and just insert Jarek. You would essentially have the same character in a different body. Like, a nice switch or swap every now and then would be okay for Mortal Kombat. Now, Jarek is sort of a weird character as well as far as his design is concerned. I liked how sort of original his Mortal Kombat 4 design was, especially in comparison to a lot of the other characters in the game. But the redesign they gave him in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, I despise. He looks like an entirely different character and plays like one. Granted, his playstyle isn't entirely bad. He doesn't play like a Kano ripoff anymore, which is both good and kind of disappointing at the same time. But there's a lot of weird aspects of how he plays now that reminds me of Movado. He just doesn't have hooks to a lot of the different attacks that he has in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Also, I have to note he might be the funniest character in Mortal Kombat history. But all that aside, I've been asked to redesign this man, and I'm gonna try to see what I can do to, I don't know, do justice by Jarek.
Briggs, come in. Sonya, this is Jax. Are you there?
Alright, so starting off, I had the base pose for Jarek. I went ahead and did the base for his entire face. I normally don't do that. Usually I come back and do that after the sketch portion. This Jarek design actually took me quite a while just to get settled on his look, because while I was adding little subtle things to make his design look a little more unique, I don't know, a lot of it to me was still reading his Mortal Kombat 4 design, and I don't think I ever really got away from that, nor was I really trying to. Let's face it, I already said I was a big fan of his Mortal Kombat 4 design. I'm standing by that, and I wanted this design to look somewhat similar to it. So eventually I started doing small things to stray away from that design a bit, but if you like that particular Jarek design, it sort of holds true to it. But in any event, once I started doing the design, I added like an intricate metal belt, gave him knee pads and very similar boots to the ones that he had in Mortal Kombat 4. You're gonna hear me say a statement like that quite a bit in this design. I gave him different types of shoes, and I just made little alterations to his pants. He just had regular green pants in Mortal Kombat 4. I added a front pocket to it, only one just to make him look slightly more like Kano. I know as much as I complained about that earlier, I did little subtle like Kano-isms to his design just to entertain myself. I also gave him gloves that had spikes on them, like almost like padded gloves over top of his forearms and fingers, but I added spikes to the pads. Once again, something just to make it look different. It was interesting I was able to get away with putting spikes in his design and him not look like he should have been like a member of Shao Kahn's army or something. I'm actually proud of myself for that. It still looks like an original design. And then I went ahead and fixed his facial structure, the bushy eyebrows and the widow's peak, which I thought should have been staples of his design going forward, and they just abandoned it in Mortal Kombat Armageddon for whatever reason. The updated goatee they gave him I didn't mind, so I at least gave that to him, so there's some of his Armageddon design. I also gave him a towel to sort of replace like the wraps that he had in his Mortal Kombat Armageddon design, as well as adding an axe, which was something I wasn't initially thinking about, but I added just as sort of a small request that was made along with the design when I saw it, so I added that in there. His vest is relatively the same as the one in Mortal Kombat 4, once again just made small alterations to make it look a little unique. And once again, another small request that was made when the initial design was suggested to me was a neck tattoo. I figured figured the easiest way to get away with that is to just add a black dragon tattoo to his neck. Like I said, there needs to be connecting features to all the members of the Black Dragon clan, so I wanted all his designs to look somewhat, all the Black Dragon designs that I've done so far to look somewhat similar. And I gave Kano the face tattoo, so the neck tattoo to Jarek isn't far off. So after finishing that, I went ahead and started doing the line art, getting the fine details in on the design before I started coloring it. The design started to look a little better once I did the line art, just because it was so scratchy and splotchy. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hated the design at first when I first did it, just because of how sloppily drawn it was. It just looked like a cluttered mess for me. The clean line art replaced that a lot, and I didn't add a lot of the details in on his clothes yet because I knew I would be doing that when I colored it, so that helped. But I went ahead and did the rest of the lines for the entire design, and once I finished that off, it was on to the coloring. Before I continue, I'd just like to remind everybody, if you like my designs and want to see more of them or any other content that I have on my channel, please make sure to like and subscribe. It would greatly help me out, and also hit the notification bell so you can get updates. But in any event, let's get back to the coloring of this design. So I started off coloring his skin and his face just to get the pieces of the design that I knew I was going to have, or at least the things that I knew was going to look Mortal Kombat 4-ish, just to have an idea of Jarek's look going forward. I wanted to make his sort of sleeves and the insides of his gloves black. I don't know why, I really wanted a lot more black in his design. It's subtle in the Mortal Kombat 4 one. It's mainly in like his belt and I think his armbands for whatever reason, but I felt like I needed a lot more black in his design. We'll get to that later. Or might as well just say it now. I ended up replacing the green in his design with the black. I know that's a bit of a leap away from the Mortal Kombat 4 design, but he needed to look somewhat unique here. Plus, once again, something uniform about the members of the Black Dragon. They're all wearing black. That sort of helps. Also, I gave a Black Dragon sort of emblem on the side of his pants as well. Another nugget that I took from the Mortal Kombat Armageddon design. I know for as much as I trash on that design, I've taken a lot of it in this one. But some of the ideas for that design isn't bad, it's just the execution of it is what I question. But even already, it seems like a nice update to his design before I've even finished it. Then moving on to the shadows, I went ahead and started piecing those into the design, getting the shadow details in on like the pants and the towel. Also piecing the shadows in on like his shin guards or whatever straps that's placed on them, which I don't understand those boots, by the way, but like I said, it's just close to the MK4 design, so not sure how much sense it makes, but checks out, I guess. Then going ahead and fixing the shadows in on the face and the rest of his skin. Once I did the shadows for his head and his face also, he started to look kind of old to me for whatever reason, which I think it might just be the widow's peak as to why Jarek looks old, but I'm not entirely mad at that either. I already made a young Kano design, so making Jarek look older, I guess, is not that big of a deal. Maybe in the new era, Jarek's the leader of the Black Dragon clan, or he's the older member and Kano's the younger one. Who knows? But in any event, after finishing the shadows, it was on to doing the highlights. So I started doing the highlights in on his skin, and also like the arm sleeves and whatnot, and finishing the sort of highlights in on his face and the hair details, which started to help the design out a lot, especially once I did it on the hair. I actually really like how I did the highlights in on the gloves. It made what was starting to look like sort of a bland glove design, or yeah, even with the spikes, it was sort of bland at first. Once I did the highlights, it looked sort of special to me. Could just be my opinion. But went ahead and finished the highlights in on the rest of the design, like the vest and the axe in the background. And then after that, went ahead and once again, as I said earlier, I changed the color of his pants and the knee pads as well. I made those metallic. Had to redo the shadows on that. And then it was on to doing the specular highlights. And after I finished those, it was all she wrote, and I had this brand new Jarek design for Mortal Kombat. Again, I'm personally a fan of what I did with this design for the sole purpose that he looks like a sort of updated version of the Mortal Kombat 4 Jarek, as opposed to Mortal Kombat Armageddon that made just an entirely different person. Me personally, I'm not a fan of that design, which is why I strayed from it so much. This looks nothing like that one, but looks very much like the original design. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below and how you feel about Jarek as a character. Whether or not you're a fan of him replacing Kano in subsequent Mortal Kombat games just as a balance to have the same playstyle in different bodies or different people, and whether that would be a good idea or not. But in any event, as I've said earlier, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And you all have a good one. And I'm out.